Okay. So what's going down with void storage, from my understanding, is that people are going to need to open up their bank slots. For characters that don't have their full slots, they're gonna have to get more slots. And for people who are worried about losing their things, they're saying about pulling out everything from your banks. But this started not just with the recent update of the changes to void storage, but with a scandal that happened long ago with earlier in the War Within time frame. So let's take a look at what exactly went down.
You know, so sad, too bad, is like their official stance. They said that what was able to be restored would be mailed to the bank leader, the guild bank leader, or the guild leader of the guild bank, I should say. And yeah, so I didn't originally think that I was affected, but I knew that a lot of people were. But I do want to talk a bit about how I use my guild bank. And then I'll talk a bit about what I've lost, because I've lost a number of things. So first, I do want to talk a bit about how I use my guild bank. This is my bank tune, and this guild has been around since December 6th, 2007, shortly after the launch of Burning Crusade. It's literally my guild, my bank tune, that's it. I'm the only person in it, so no one stole anything from me.
By the way, this is not like to make like any like stark connections early on in the video, but I honestly believe that this is the same argument that people are arguing with this whole like digital game scandal, like with the whole thing with Nintendo and how basically you don't own any of your games and how you have to pay extra for games, and you're not like, you actually don't own the game. It's just a license to be able to play the game. And I think that's what the whole stop killing games movement is about too. So like this, even though it's like, it can sound silly, at the same time, I think there's a lot of people who go like, no, this applies in more facets than one. This is just how it applies to WoW.
Except for Blizzard. Until the the Warband bank came along, I put basically everything into my guild bank. Because like I just had way too much stuff. I've been playing this game since October of 2005. So that is almost 19 years. And I have collected a lot of stuff in 19 years.
And honestly, I think this is a perfect example. Like we have transmog is a perfect example, perfect reason of why we need better archiving of old things in the game. Not just for nostalgia purposes, but for the fact that there is so much stuff in the game. And I feel like trying to cycle that stuff out and like not really doing anything about it is just Blizzard admitting to the fact that they want to get rid of some of that bloat, and they want to get rid of some of that old content. It's like this content we paid for, paid for, and it exists for a reason, you know? It's pretty wild. The things that people lost and cared about most was letters and stuff like that from old guildies and the like. Yeah, especially stuff that has sentimental value.
Let me talk to you, little Canny here. My actual bank is kind of empty, doesn't have too much stuff. There is literally nothing in my reagent bank because it's a bank tune. And then I've got stuff in my Warband bank, and I only have the one tab. But for the most part, that's because all of my stuff was in my guild bank. From what I can tell, this tab was mostly untouched. This tab is missing a bunch of old Dark Moon card stuff, is missing old inks, possibly. I did go through my guild bank before the War Within came out, and I did sell a lot of stuff. I didn't sell everything.
That's the sad part too, is like it's hard to remember what you lost to. So even if you had like a full restoration, you wouldn't even know that you had a full restoration unless it was something significant, because sometimes you do hold on to stuff. Yeah, it may not have a purpose every single time, but at the same time, it's like, who is the game to tell you like you can't have the stuff that you want? So it's like, it's weird. It's like a policing of your own inventories and what you're holding on to. So it's like, it's weird to be like, you can't just have those anymore. So I find it to be extremely strange that that there isn't a better policy on making sure those things aren't lost. Because like, what's the harm of it staying? Like if these things are being lost, what's the harm of things like just being, I don't know, just restored back?
And as such, unfortunately, my memory is a little off, but like I know I had more than this stuff in this tab. This is possibly the most devastating thing. This was my leatherworking tab. I had easily this many leatherworking materials, and that includes dragon scales. You see, my main, Kern, is a leatherworker and was a dragon scale leatherworker back in the day. And as such, also being a skinner, I had a ton of blue.
This is of course like your tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, but I honestly think these type of things come about because they don't want people hoarding onto stuff that might be useful in the future, like in an attempt to like try to make so that like the economies have to reset each expansion to where it's like, hey, we're adding housing, you can use a lot of old stuff in the game, and then making it to where like all that stuff that you possibly needed just is gone. You know, that's what's lost in there. So let's make these reagent tabs, but those are the first thing that, you know, oh, oops. Oopsies.
Red, black, green, and worn dragon scales from Classic, from Vanilla, which you can't get anymore. You just don't get those things anymore. And all of those scales are still required for the black dragon scale set, the blue dragon scale set, the green dragon scale set, the red dragon scale breastplate, and other stuff. And as a leatherworker, I put it in my bank for safekeeping, thinking, oh, whenever I need to make another one of these things, I just need to go to my bank, pull out.
Isn't it funny how like art imitates life in this case? This is essentially like any bank crisis that you've heard of in like in the past 2 or 3 decades is exactly what's happening. You store stuff in the bank with the intention of it being kept safe, and what happens to whatever you invest? Well, they spend it, or they use it somewhere else, and so they no longer have your money, and your money is just gone. so they get bailed out in order to save the bank, and you're just like, wait, where's my stuff?
That rugged hide, pull out the required scales, the rugged leather, and I can just craft one. It is completely empty. I did not sell all of my scales because I know that they're not replaceable.
And this might seem small to a lot of people. I think if you only play retail, you might look at this and go, oh, you know, that's a lot of stuff. You know, that's probably like that's probably a lot of value in auction house gold. It's not that. It really is not just that. It's the amount of time that it takes, and especially if you got it at the time where it was popular, like getting those things are near impossible. People still knew how to farm stuff, and so like it was sometimes you had to spend days working on this stuff because spawn rates weren't like they are now. There wasn't the routes that existed. There weren't like the min-max meta routes that are established now. So like getting that stuff is just, it's not the same. It's not the same at all. Surprised a lot of big channels didn't cover this. I think they're starting to cover this with
had hundreds of scales. As upsetting as that is,
with the most recent void storage updates.
Mining, I don't even know what was in here. Probably some old ore and dual crafting stuff. I don't even remember. I kind of don't even care, because this is the thing that's killing me the most. Old patterns. This bank tab was filled with old patterns. I don't even remember all of the old patterns. I know that there was life stealing. I know that there was greater fire protection. I know that there were
greater fire protection being huge for Classic.
Thorn mail or something like that. There was a lot of junk, but there was also a lot of good stuff. And like, I don't even know what was in there anymore. But it was patterns from everything. Like, what is it? The robe of the Archmage. That was in there. You know, like epic patterns.
Custom triggers that aren't available and don't exist anymore. I pulled out from an axe dropped in vanilla.
I don't even know if you can get that anymore. I mean, South Shore doesn't exist, right? So.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that. I think some of the biggest, like the hardest part about a lot of this is the content doesn't exist anymore because Kata did away with a lot of it. So it's like there's no way for you to retrieve it, for one, and then for two, there's no way that people keep stock of like the new and the old content, even on from a GM's perspective, you know. So gosh, that's really a tough pill to swallow. That's insane.
To do. Also empty are my alchemy, enchant, and engineering tabs. Again, I have no recollection of what was there. My logs for them are empty because like I haven't used them in so long. But, like you can see, I had enchant, two-hand weapon, superior impact, heavy fell sealed ring, bracers of havoc, Arcanite Reaper. I had Arcanite Reaper in here, which goes for 35,000 gold. It was deposited, was never withdrawn. It's just gone. And like I don't have any other. Like I don't have any other record.
The sad thing is, like, I know we talk about like the things that Blizzard can and can't do, and it seems like whenever Blizzard does something, they can't undo it. And it's just like the big thing is like, well, you're a multi-million-dollar company owned now by billion-dollar company, so why not? So why is that not possible? And it's like an issue of if you can't, we don't believe you. It's most likely that you won't. But I feel like in this case, like, so like Arcanite Reaper being lost, I wonder if it's a can't versus a won't.
Of this. So I've obviously screenshotted this. Mining JC also wasn't really used, but like Rugged Hide, White Bandit Mask, Glyph of Evaporation, Mooncloth Bag, Silithid Carapace Fragments, gone. Also Protected Gloves, which I sold, or Disenchanted. Here, Green Hills of Stranglethorn. I do still have my Chimerock Tenderloin, but again, more patterns. Wildvine Potion, Portable Bronze Mortar, lesser versatility, 5 of Lunacy.
A good reference for people who don't like maybe understand Classic or anything like that. Think of it, a way to think about it like in real life is, say you had like a family heirloom and you kept all this time throughout the generations, and it has its great value. Of course, it has a great sentimental value to you. At some point, maybe you want to get it valued. Maybe you want to get looked at. And so say at some point you go to get it valued. Whenever you leave it off with the person who's supposed to like observe it and check it out, they replace it with just a regular rocking chair from like, or like a regular piece of furniture, a regular heirloom of like modern quality. It's like, yes, it does the same function, but I had that with the hopes of it had value, it had sentimental value, and it has like a personal keepsake. So think of it like a personal keepsake. Some people store this stuff with the pure reason of like, my goal for this is to somewhere down the line, I'll have this piece. Maybe it's not useful at all, but it'll be something that I remember. It's a lot of man hours. It truly is. It truly is. It's a lot of hours.
There was stuff here. This is all within the last month, so I really don't know what would have been here. It's my MISC tab anyway, but it's really this that's got me down.
So we got the idea of what's happening here. I think there's a Zepla video that might kind of go over it. I haven't watched it yet, but let's do void storage, because I saw it and I think it does a little bit. It does a really good summarization of what's going on.
And void storage. Removed? What? No. Character. Okay, in Ghosts of Koresh, your character's bank is updated and now use the same.
Can you imagine the patch that's supposed to be the most void patch we've gotten of this expansion, and it literally does something so drastic as to harm your storage? I wonder if they'll play it off like a feature, like this was the intention, for you to lose everything important to you because the ethereals are now having you ally with Xalatath. Xalatath took him. That's gonna be the thing. Xalatath took him. It's sorry, gang. Old Zal just slipped away. She bamboozled us and she took your stuff. Our bad. Didn't mean for that to happen.
The warband bank. Character banks now comprise tabs with per tab settings available. Each tab includes 98 slots of storage. 6 tabs can be purchased. But what if I've already purchased all the tabs with gold? Then you're not going to make me purchase more tabs, right? Bank tabs are automatically unlocked.
Please.
At level 80, all tabs are unlocked automatically. For characters below level 80, the number of tabs available based on how many bank bag slots were available to the character before the update. Oh, okay, that's fine. They just answered my question. But what about...
The thing is, it's kind of not okay, right? Because it's like, I get the concept, right? So bank slots will now be available based on level. And if you already had the bank slots, basically, you're grandfathered in. That's the way it feels, right? But on the same notion, it's creating a non-need for a thing that nobody was concerned about and creating concern. It's creating concern and player confusion in an area that didn't need to be confusing. What should have been done is, hey, we realize this whole thing of like bank slots is a dated concept. We want people just to have bank slots available, and then they add the bags as they need so we can still have value with tailors. So we're just going to make it a level requirement. And if you have the bank slots, you have the bank slots already. You know, like, I don't think anyone cares or wants like refunds. Like, oh, I already bought these, so pay me back my gold. Like, gold is whatever. You could buy all the bank slots for all your characters, and probably the bags too, with like, with not a lot of gold, I guess is the point. So to me, they just created tension, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary at all.
The void storage. No, don't get rid of void storage.
It'll be more space total, but them doing this is going to be a disaster probably. Oh, really? So what they're planning on doing is giving you full tabs like the Warband Bank. I see. So overall more space, and then an appearance of looking like the Warband Bank.
The reagent bank has been removed. Any bank tab can now serve as a reagents tab. Well, I guess then that doesn't matter. That's not a big deal. But the void storage matters. Because
I honestly I never liked reagent tabs and like reagent bags and stuff like that. To me, it's just silly. It only made sense whenever it's like when things didn't stack nearly as well and there was a lot more variety in items that you can get. Like whenever you're farming for multiple expansions, for sure, you know, like it's good to have like a reagent tab, reagent bank. But like honestly, if you're just farming within the single expansion, it's not that big of a deal. And I don't necessarily enjoy it because it's just like, oh, I get a few more slots, so that's why it's important. Or it's just to fill all the clutter that I may or may not use. And also I don't feel like selling because I would like to be semi-self-sufficient, you know? That's the way it feels anyways. I think a lot of stuff is going to get lost in the shuffle, for sure. I feel like this isn't the first time this has happened too.
Items. I use void storage to put items that I don't want to delete but have a sentimental value to me and that I want to be separate from my general bank. That I use. Like stuff that I had got in freaking BC or Wrath of the Lich King. That's what that is for. Things that were like gifts that have meaning to me. Don't get rid of that.
I feel like they're not exclusively saying that. To give them like the benefit of the doubt, I feel like they're not exclusively saying that, but I think a lot of people are kind of like reading between the lines, right? And you can see very easily like, hey, this is problematic if you don't account for this. And this has happened enough times to where players are probably within the right mind of being like, hey, you're gonna fix this, right? You're gonna make sure this doesn't happen, right? But like I said, I like conspiracy theory mind of mine thinks that they kind of hope that does happen. You know, like what if everyone loses a particular item? You know, that they just kind of want to get rid of from the game.
Was that? I guess void storage guy wants to go back to Koresh. He's done. He's quitting. He's quitting his job. All items previously contained in character banks, reagent banks, and void storage are automatically moved to available tabs. No! Please note that during times of great demand, it's possible for the conversion to not initiate when you first log into a character.
It just feels like basically that what that tells me, even as like a basic onlooker who's like just now like kind of deciphering what's going on, what I foresee is, what if there's overflow? What if there's overflow? What happens, right? Oh, it'll be mailed to you. Sure. Yeah, sure.
Character. Until the conversion is completed, access to your bank will be disabled. Wait, what does this mean? Does this mean we're gonna be locked out of the bank until you fix it? Probably.
Basically, you can't go on without doing it.
Why are you doing this? I mean, I kind of I understand like setting the character's bank to match the configuration of the warband bank, and that's okay. That's fine. Like all this stuff that's just updating it is okay. My only issue is frankly with the void storage being removed. I think void storage has a unique.
They could even take it and go, hey, before you can open your bank, you got to transfer all your stuff to your inventory or to another character, and basically go, you can withdraw things, but you can't deposit until it's all resolved, either withdrawn, sent over, something along those lines. And then basically just go like, hey, once you do that, reload the game or whatever, and then you'll be able to do whatever you need to do. That to me seems like the easy solution.
Place in the game. It offers a different place to put your stuff that's totally separate, and I don't think it should be gotten rid of.
There's too much risk.
My
I
void
feel
storage
like
is full. Yeah, you do the same thing. So I'm not the only person who uses void storage this way. What do you use it for? I think maybe a lot of people don't even know that void storage exists.
I didn't use void storage until I started doing like old classic farming, because I was like, oh man, I need somewhere to store this stuff, because to be honest, I had a habit of single charactering and then just cycling stuff out, and then whenever my stuff got full, I just made a new character. That's probably a bad habit.
Maybe
I don't know.
They feel like people aren't using it, so there's no need to maintain it. I'm afraid, very afraid. When they added war banks, oh yeah, things went missing from guilds. That's right. That was a huge drama.
And that was the video we just watched.
After they added the warband bank, the guilds lost all kinds of stuff, and then did they ever do anything about that?
Nope.
So remember when guild banks were emptied all of a sudden by a glitch? Yes.
I've heard some people got stuff restored, but not everybody's stuff was restored.
I foresee a similar issue. 100%. That is going like, okay, maybe not 100%, but like there's a 90% chance the same thing will probably happen. It's like this feels to me like one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think the problem is, I think there's a desire by the WoW team as of currently, if something is working, they need to like lean into it and keep on working in that direction. And I understand the methodology is like, okay, well, people are liking warbands, so let's like really lean into like warbands being the thing. But I think where the mistake is instead of kind of incorporating things, they kind of do a drop the previous and adopt the new. And this constant mentality of doing this has created a lot of resentment and fear by the player base that they can't trust and rely on Blizzard to complete something without there being problems. And so what ends up happening to the player base is they end up kind of taking the brunt of it, and Blizzard's response is like, okay, we're working on it at most, but a lot of times it gets quelled over time, and then we never hear about it again. And there's nothing really to hold WoW to a like Blizzard team to the standard to where it's like hey, if you do this, there's some sort of repercussions. I don't want to say like I feel like I feel silly to be like oh, there should be like legal repercussions, but at a certain point, when you own, like, say, like you have a digital thing, like an asset in game, and I don't know, it's just taken away like that. It does feel like, it feels like a version of theft. Like, I don't know. Are we just borrowing Thunder Fury? Like, if you have Thunder Fury, are you just borrowing it? Situations.
This feels like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why are we doing this? But it seems like a shit show waiting to happen. It sure does. Maybe the void storage guy will be the final boss in the raid.
Yeah, void storage final boss.
But he will win in the end by deleting your sentimental items.
Yeah, honestly, fantastic video by Zepla, honestly. And good to know the information about this. Honestly, I feel like if something doesn't change, if something doesn't drastically change soon, I feel like a lot of people are going to suffer, and I feel like there's going to be upheaval. There's going to be a lot of people really upset by this, and I think people are over being told that like, hey, whoopsies, because this has happened too many times. Imagine you had a private guild bank basically and had a bunch of old TCG mounts in there and they all got wiped. Yeah, I can't imagine. So void storage. Make sure you buy your bank slots, folks, and make sure you withdraw your stuff. Don't give Blizzard the chance to mess this up. So remove that from the equation, I guess is the main thing. And yeah, hopefully you don't lose your stuff. If you lost stuff, let me know in the comments. Of course, give this video a like if you liked it, and of course, subscribe to the page while you're at it. We're nearing 2K subscribers and I'm super excited. So thank you guys for watching this one, but I'll see you in the next video. Peace.